Lately, I've been thinking a lot about creativity. I think it's largely prompted by a Andrew Huberman TV episode that piqued my interest with a guy named Rick Rubin. And I had no idea who he was until I searched him up. He's probably the most influential American producer of the past 30, 35 years across an incredible range of different genres of music. And they were talking about creativity. And I kind of went down a whole rabbit hole, as you do. Bought a bunch of books, bought Rick Rubin's new book on being creative, another one about something called narrative theory, which I still haven't really wrapped my head around. Because something Rick Rubin said just really struck a chord with me and helped me with a situation I'm in with my skiing. I've recently felt a bit stuck, maybe a bit plateaued. I've been learning a lot of tricks, and I can do far more than the average everyday skier. But I saw someone do something called a screaming seaman, which is a ridiculous, crazy name. But it's basically where you purposely cross your legs over one another in the air. And he did it while doing something like 7 rotations. And I realized that I will never be able to do a trick like that. Not sure if I'd even want to. That's terrifying. That trick was a world first. I was kind of stuck because I want to be... At the time, I'm thinking about trying to get on the world tour, and I want to be one of the best skiers I can be, and if I'm competing, one of the best skiers out there. And I'm faced with people who can do shit like that. How am I supposed to compete? But then he said something interesting, and that was sometimes as an artist actually limiting your palette, the range of whether it's like the number of different instruments you have access to, the colors, the scope, actually increases your creativity. You have to do more with less. And that kind of struck me as an idea of possibly a way out. Like, maybe I can't do a screaming seaman, but I can use the few tricks what I have in a creative, artistic manner that evokes some sort of emotion in the watcher. So I was like, okay, so I want to introduce more artistic creativity into my skiing. And I've been going down that rabbit hole for a while, trying to figure out good analogies or ways that I can go about doing that. The closest analogy that I have for my current situation is, yes, there's doing the hardest trick, the biggest trick, the scariest trick, but that's kind of like playing your scales, like a really complicated scale, really well on the violin, to take a musical analogy. It's difficult, and it's, when people can do it amazingly well, it's virtuosic, but it's not actually that musical. It's not Jeff Buckley's Hallelujah, for example, which is actually a pretty simple song. I think it's only 4 chords or something. So that's the difference. That's what I'm faced with now. One idea I came across the other day is maybe I can treat the mountain, this sounds a bit wankery, but it just occurred to me. Maybe I can treat the mountain as a canvas, and when I ski down it, I can link my turns and flares and tricks. I can imagine myself as a painter and see the line from top to bottom in its totality rather than in separate chunks. I think that's the best idea I've had so far of what I need to do. Yeah. Anyway, that's my little thought of the day. Thanks.